The movie begins with Hazel and her friends, Connie and Amy, rushing quickly to the train station to catch the train to Barcelona. They manage to board just in time and take their seats comfortably. The girls are on a trip across Europe, traveling together from city to city along a planned route. While on the train, Amy notices a young man among the passengers and looks at him with curiosity. She eventually follows him to talk, leaving Hazel with Connie. Soon, another passenger appears and surprises everyone by climbing onto the luggage racks to lie down and sleep. Later that night, the young man gently tells Hazel that sleeping on the luggage racks isn't very comfortable. He asks why she's awake, and Hazel explains she's thinking about a novel. They exchange a few pleasant words, and he warmly wishes her a good night before trying to sleep. The next day, they arrive on the train in the city of Barcelona. Outside the train station, Jack is with them and moves along with them. He learns that they are planning to meet at a nightclub that evening, and they agree to see each other there. After saying goodbye, Hazel and her two friends go to visit the landmarks of Barcelona. That night, they head to the nightclub. Jack arrives with his friend Rafe and greets them. Connie goes to dance with Rafe, while Amy notices Victor, the young man she met on the train, and goes to dance with him, leaving Hazel alone with Jack. The music is loud, so Jack suggests they step outside to talk. They sit and get to know each other better, exchanging stories about their lives. Hazel asks if he has a job, and Jack explains that he is currently unemployed, but has done many different random jobs. Hazel shares that she studied at university, then moved to New York after graduation, and worked as an accountant at a bank. Jack comments that their lifestyles are very different. She enjoys planning and structure, while he prefers spontaneity and adventure, and thinks that this difference might be part of the reason they are drawn to each other. Hazel smiles, clearly impressed by his spontaneity and personality as they continue talking. We see Heather walking and casually chatting with her friend Connie, while Jack and Rafe follow just a little behind. Connie mentions that she really likes Rafe and is planning to spend the night with him, so Heather says goodbye as her friend happily leaves. Heather and Jack continue walking together, talking about their shared interests, especially literature and novels. Jack points out a nearby cable car and invites her to join him. They climb the stairs and enter the cabin, enjoying the wide view of the city from above. Jack explains that his grandfather used to carefully keep diaries and left them to him before passing away. He planned this entire trip to visit all the places his grandfather had written about. Heather is touched by his thoughtful gesture, seeing how he's honoring his grandfather's memory and revisiting places from his past. The next morning, they suddenly wake up together inside the cable car as it slowly moves, and an angry employee yells at them for being there, so they quickly run out and escape. Later at the hotel, Amy breaks down in tears, telling them that Victor, the guy she met on the train, has stolen her money and belongings, and even her passport is gone. They think about going to the embassy to report it, but Jack insists they should carefully check Victor's apartment first. Amy takes them there, and from the doorway, Victor denies everything. But when they threaten to call the police, he becomes nervous and says he'll go inside to look for her things. Jack pushes the door before he can shut it, and they all storm into the apartment. Victor escapes through the window while Amy finds her missing belongings, and they also discover a stash of extra cash. Jack assumes the money is probably stolen as well and suggests that they have the right to take it as compensation. They walk out together happily, and with the extra money, they rent a convertible car and drive it around freely until they finally reach a beautiful coastal village. Heather asks them to stop so she can take some memorable photos, but Jack pulls away from the pictures as he doesn't like being photographed. They continue afterward, slowly walking by the sea, renting a small boat, having fun together, and diving joyfully. Later, Amy tells them she has decided to travel across Europe alone and meet another young man she recently got to know from a different city, confident this time she won't be deceived like she was with Victor. The next day, they say goodbye to her warmly, while Connie leaves with Rafe in a taxi. Jack then kindly asks Heather to go with him to visit the next place mentioned in his grandfather's journals, and she agrees. When they arrive, Jack sees a group of tourists taking selfies and comments that they are not really living the moment, calling them hypocrites and obsessed with empty appearances. Heather doesn't understand why he is so annoyed by selfies. And when he says that people who do that are shallow, she takes it personally since she does the same and tells him directly he is judging people. Upset, she walks away quickly and Jack follows her closely to sincerely apologize, saying he honestly didn't mean it. He reminds her that her flight is in 1 hour and that they really shouldn't part ways while angry. Heather forgives him, and Jack then drives her to the airport, but before she goes in, he desperately asks her not to leave and to stay with him instead. He tries to encourage her with the exciting idea of changing her plans and extending her holiday. Though hesitant at first, Heather finally agrees, and they happily walk together again as they head to the very next destination in his grandfather's journals. The next day, they continue together, and Jack shares more of his personal thoughts and deeper beliefs about life with her. That night, they start a relationship in the hotel room. The following day, they attend a lively bull festival, and Jack suddenly decides to join in and run with the locals from the bulls. However, a bull knocks him down, and he is taken to the hospital with an injured arm. Heather comments on what he did, calling him reckless, but Jack doesn't care, and decides that nothing will stop him from continuing his journey. After a few days, we see them moving from one place to another, faithfully following his grandfather's journals, without any planning or knowing where they will go next. Heather talks on the phone with her two friends, Connie and Amy, telling them about the progress of her trip with Jack, and saying that she is really enjoying herself. Connie asks her what will happen between them once their journey ends, but Heather isn't sure and says she will try to bring it up with Jack to find out the true future of their relationship. Later on the bus, Heather is asleep when Jack receives a phone call. He moves to another seat and answers, and we hear him speaking with his doctor. The doctor tells him that they need him to do another scan and to set an appointment with them. Jack agrees, but we don't yet understand the reason for the scan the doctor asked him to do. He then returns to sit beside Heather, but it's clear he looks worried. Later, while they are together in a restaurant, Heather accidentally discovers a folded paper hidden in the cover of the journal, which Jack hadn't noticed before. Jack reads the paper, and in it his grandfather writes about an island called Sanabo. On this island, they hold a dance festival every year which they consider a way of facing death. Neither Connie nor Jack know if this festival is still being held, or if it ended long ago. Later, while they are walking, Heather asks Jack if he plans to one day write a book about this unique experience, but Jack replies that he is not thinking about doing that, and insists that he doesn't like planning for the future at all. At that moment, Heather seriously asks him to have a proper conversation, because she believes that ignoring the future is not a responsible idea. She tells Jack that he must be clear about what he is going to do in his future life. But Jack answers calmly that this is simply his personal view of life. He wants to live in the moment and never worry too much about tomorrow. Heather then admits that she feels confused if she doesn't make plans and know her next step, and she confesses that she wants to understand the future of their relationship together and where it is going. However, Jack doesn't want to talk seriously about that subject, avoids the question, and refuses to give her any direct answer. This creates tension between them, and they both end up feeling upset and distant from each other. But on the following night, Jack returns to the hotel room and surprises Heather by telling her that he has decided to travel with her to New York. Heather is overjoyed, since that is exactly what she wanted. The next day, they head to the airport to catch their flight to New York together. However, Jack receives a phone call from his doctor, who informs him that he must come to the clinic because the results of his latest tests are ready. At that moment, Jack looks hesitant and excuses himself, telling Heather he is just going to the bathroom and will return before boarding begins. He leaves her waiting but takes longer than expected. Heather sends him a message, yet he doesn't reply. She keeps waiting until she grows anxious as passengers begin boarding the plane. Worried, she goes to look for him in the bathroom, but he isn't there. Just then, she hears the final boarding call and tries to call Jack, but he still doesn't answer. Feeling nervous and unsure what to do, Heather speaks to an airline staff member, explaining that she can't find her boyfriend. The staff insists she must board immediately as there is no time left. Reluctantly, Heather gets on the plane, hoping to see him inside, but she finds his seat empty. Moments later, she receives a message from Jack saying that he is sorry. At that moment, Heather realizes he has abandoned her. Heather then goes to New York City, where she meets her close friends, Connie and Amy. She sits with them and tells them what Jack did, and Amy thinks he is despicable and that he tricked her, agreeing with Connie. They reassure her that she doesn't need to think about him because he's not worth her attention. A few days later, Heather travels to Texas to visit her family, who welcome her warmly, happy to see her again. Inside the house, she talks to her father about her trip with Jack, explaining that she always felt comfortable when she had a clear plan and knew exactly what her future held, which guided her through every stage of her life. But with Jack, moving from place to place without any plan, she experienced a different feeling, one she truly enjoyed and appreciated deeply. Her father tells her that the feeling she is describing is freedom, and although it is enjoyable at first, it doesn't last long. He sincerely wishes for her to make choices that bring her comfort and happiness in life, as that is what matters most. And then he goes to sleep peacefully. Later, Heather receives a message from Connie informing her that Rafe has proposed and that they are planning the wedding soon. Heather replies, expressing her happiness for them. After a while, they go to Connie and Rafe's beautiful wedding, and the full ceremony happens with everyone genuinely happy and smiling. Later, Heather is happily dancing with Rafe and really wants to know if Jack ever contacted him after unexpectedly leaving her alone. Rafe clearly sees she truly needs an honest and direct answer to feel better and finally at peace. So he carefully takes her to a quiet room and gently tells her that Jack left an important letter with him to give to her after a few months. Heather takes the letter, sincerely thanks him, and carefully reads it. Jack explains he made an extremely hard and painful decision leaving her at the airport, that he was deeply in pain seeing her search for him, and that he has a serious, life-threatening illness he intentionally hid from her. He says he spent the absolute best and most meaningful time of his life with her, but he was only avoiding the harsh truth, and his remaining time is very limited, so he couldn't responsibly think about the uncertain future. He tells her that the trip with her made him feel fulfilled, and that the shared memories they created together are like a map that helped him understand himself and not get lost in his final days. After reading the letter, Heather remembers the page from the journal she had kept, so she searches for it in her bag and finds it. She reads the name Santa Bow Island and looks it up on the map, expecting that Jack might go there. She then decides to travel there and informs her two friends of her decision, leaving them behind as she sets off. We see her traveling a journey until she reaches the island where she finds the Dancers' Festival. While she's there, still hoping to see Jack, she spots him, and he looks surprised when he notices her. She walks toward him, and he asks how she found him. She tells him she remembered her grandfather's journal and had to keep faith they'd meet again. Jack admits he can't offer her any kind of future, but she tells him she doesn't want to think about anything except this moment, being with him. She tells him she loves him, and Jack says he loves her too. They move closer amidst the festival and dancing, and that's where the movie ends.